Kevin, as we go around the NFL, don't you think that's still the play of the year?
Yes.
I mean, it's crazy. Still, what a difference 3 weeks makes, though, because after that Kyler Murray to DeAndre Hopkins pass and catch against the Bills, it's been all downhill for the Cardinals. 3 straight losses to the Seahawks, the Patriots, and the Rams, and now Arizona is just 6-6. But Kyler Murray, he is focused. He's not paying any attention to that outside noise.
I don't listen to outsiders or anybody that, none of this affects me. I understand what's going to happen, inside those lines. Prepare for the worst. But I mean, I'm not tripping over it. With the good and the bad, I understand what's going to happen. So I'm not really too worried about it. Got 4 games left, and each game is crucial, and we know that. Everyone knows that. We understand. It's a 1-0 mentality, and we gotta win.
Staying in the NFC, the Bucs have lost 3 of 4, but still remain in the playoff mix as the 6th seed. Tom Brady and company hosting the Vikings, who are just behind them in the seedings. Don't forget the league expanded the playoffs this year to 7 teams, so the Vikings are holding on. And speaking of holding on, Gronk caught 6 of his 7 targets this past weekend.
December football is always huge, no matter what the situation is. You're always playing for something, I believe. Big time. If we want to get to the playoffs, we got to win these games. We got to win this week, and it just starts with one game at a time, and it starts with one day at a time. You can't look ahead of yourself. We got to have good practices. We got to know what we're doing. We got to prepare well, and it's basically playoffs every single week right now.
Another good one involving the now 11-1 Pittsburgh Steelers this Sunday night as they go to Buffalo to face the 9-3 Bills. Pittsburgh, Buffalo, 38-year-old Ben Roethlisberger, 24-year-old Josh Allen for an 8:20 Eastern kick of Week 14. Listen.
What he's been able to do in his career, winning a couple Super Bowls, just the consistency that he's been able to do it on, the way that he plays, the style of the game that he plays, he's very hard to bring down. He's got tremendous arm talent, and he's been doing it for a long time. And he's had, a lot of success, and I'd argue to say he's a first ballot Hall of Famer.
They're a really good football team. They're playing with a lot of confidence. They've got an MVP caliber quarterback who's playing at that level. They've got some defenders that are just taking the ball away every single time the ball's thrown their way. And they're just a really good football team, and I think confidence has a lot to do with that.
Both the Bills and Steelers have a shot at clinching a playoff spot with a win in that game. Hello to NFL analyst Marcus Spears once again. And it's been, 48 hours since the Steelers lost. They're a bit at perfection with that surprising loss to Washington. So they're at Buffalo this weekend, Marcus. Which team do you expect to learn the most about come Sunday night?
Sage, conventional minds would tell you the Pittsburgh Steelers, but I firmly believe it's the Buffalo Bills. They had a magnificent performance against the 49ers. We left that game with Josh Allen reasserting himself into the MVP conversation again. The offense looks so good, and now you get a chance defensively against a defense where if you can go out and do that, not only have you proven to yourself, but everybody else that this is a trend that's going to carry on. Buffalo has had moments when they play Jekyll and Hyde, but when they're playing at their top level, they're as good as anybody, and they are the challenge to the Kansas City Chiefs. Now you have to carry that more over because we know Pittsburgh is good. We know Mike Tomlin's going to have this team ready to play. We know what happened against the Washington football team as well with all of the drops that they had at the wide receiver and tight end spot. This will be a great challenge for the Buffalo Bills. And if they go through the Pittsburgh Steelers and have a lot of success and Josh Allen continues to perform like he has, then we start talking about them being a legit team that can go out and take out the Kansas City Chiefs and possibly be the representative in the Super Bowl. Again,
24 years old in his 3rd season. Not sure if he has done enough quite yet for us to say absolutely all in. We will see come Sunday. That's a big one.
Right.
How about Ravens-Cowboys last night after being sidelined with COVID last week? Lamar Jackson, he was ready to return, and was he ever? He looked like his MVP self a little more, Marcus, after coming off the COVID Reserve 19 list. He ran for a 37-yard touchdown there, part of their 294 yards on the ground last night. That's the 4th most in franchise history. But they are on the outside looking in for a postseason spot right now, and the Raiders hold the tiebreaker because of the conference wins. So you see the schedule coming up for the Ravens with only 4 to go. What do you think, Marcus? What's it going to take for this team to make the playoffs?
Sage, I think they're going to have to win out. But when I say win out, I mean obviously finishing undefeated the rest of the way. But they can. I know they play the Browns again, and the Browns are looking really good, and we saw the performance that Baker Mayfield had. But this team understands this time of the year, and they're potentially getting back healthy. Lamar looked great, but a lot of people have looked great against the Dallas Cowboys defense. But let's not forget that this was the same team that ran for 260 plus yards on the Pittsburgh Steelers, had 4 turnovers in that game, and it still was a 1-possession game with them with an opportunity to win. And I believe that the Ravens offense has changed the narrative a bit, and yes, they do struggle through the air when it's a part of that game, but they can run with the best of them. And when Lamar needs to make throws, he can. So I think this team will creep into the playoffs. I think they have the potential to win out, Sage.
I mean, they are kind of that Jekyll and Hyde type team that you described. You don't quite know what you're going to see with them, but Lamar Jackson certainly seemed rejuvenated coming back last night. Marcus Spears, thank you, sir. Kevin.
Sage, we're following a developing story after holding out. James Harden has returned to the Rockets and has to test negative for COVID-19 for 6 straight days before joining the team, according to Tim McMahon. McMahon and Woj reporting that Harden indicated he would be open to a trade to the Sixers or possibly other contenders, including the Nets. Kevin Durant, he can't avoid the questions.
We all know all these James Harden rumors are out there. And he's been your teammate in the past. What do you think about him and what he might bring if they were to trade for him?
I don't think about James Harden at all. I mean, he doesn't play on our team.
Well, we're talking about James Harden. Malika Andrews joining us and back with us on SportsCenter. So Harden wants out of Houston and wants to be dealt to a contender. What's the likelihood that the superstar lands in Brooklyn with KD?
Kevin, the chances are low, and that's not some failure on behalf of the Nets. It's more that the Nets have made it clear since the jump. James Harden is one, like you said, that is interested in joining a team that really has a chance at winning a championship this year, and he listed Brooklyn, according to Adrian Wojnarowski, as one of the places he would like to be. But Brooklyn, I've been told, has made it clear from the beginning, they are not willing to give up, I've said this before, the moon and the stars in order to land James Harden. They like who they have. They are pretty set with who they are going into this opening of the season with. And as Adrian Wojnarowski and Tim McMahon reported, Philly has emerged as a potential landing spot for James Harden.
Okay, let's stay in Brooklyn now. KD's coming back from that Achilles injury, missed all of last season. How does new Nets head coach Steve Nash plan to utilize the former MVP here?
Well, versatility is the name of the game, Kevin. What Jeff Green said today about this entire team is it's a team of Swiss Army knives. So he expects guys to be used in a variety of different ways, including Kevin Durant, in a position that some may be a little bit surprised about.
Talking with the training staff and the coaching staff to see what my load will be for this first preseason game. But as far as, schemes and how I fit in the offense and defense, I think coach is going to use me in a variety of ways, and especially as a small ball 5-4 sometimes, and bringing the ball up too. So I just got to be ready for anything. But as far as minutes are concerned, I'm just looking forward to seeing how my body responds and how we respond as a team our first game.
That's right, small ball 5. Now, Kevin Durant clarified that there isn't an emphasis necessarily on him playing that 5 position. It's going to be something that potentially they could use when he used it as an example. Maybe Karis LeVert is bringing the ball up the court, and Kyrie Irving could play a 2 on a certain possession. It's just that this team has